everyone. I'm here today with Katie Shands. She's a local author. Wrote a really cool book called Finding Franklin. She's been in Nashville about, what'd you say, 5 years?
Yeah.
5
years.
So like most people, she's a transplant. But tell us about your book, because it's kind of, well, it's more focused on Franklin, but it's sort of, talk about it.
So it's a mystery. It's set here in Franklin. The main character is a woman who was left as an infant on a doorstep in Franklin. And she moves away, and after a tragedy in her life leaves her alone, and she starts sort of reflecting on her past. She moves back to Franklin to try to solve the mystery of her birth, and I think locals will enjoy it. There's a lot of nods to different restaurants and shops in the area. The main character, is fixing up a house on West Main, which is based on an actual house on West Main.
Wow.
I've taken a few artistic liberties in my description, but it's pretty true to what the house is, and so I think that's kind of fun for readers.
You found a house and you just really liked it and you wanted to incorporate it into the book? Or?
Yeah, that's part of the reason why. I mean, I feel like Franklin is just so inspiring to me because of all of the history and the old houses and all the stories there. And so just especially all those houses on West Main are just so beautiful. Yeah. And when I drive by, I just always think about, who lives there and what, or just kind of make up stories too. And that one in particular, it has a big turret, and it just, I don't know what it was about it, but I just love, it's one of my favorite houses there. And so when I started writing the story, that's the one that came to mind and that I just pictured while I wrote it.
So what kind of gave you the idea for the actual storyline in that book?
It was really sort of just an organic kind of thing. When I was in, like I said, just downtown Franklin and everything, the history inspired me to start writing a story. And as I started writing it, it sort of just took on a life of its own. And I think a lot of it is inspired just by my love of the South and small towns. It has that kind of feel. And I love mysteries personally, and so I wanted to have an element of mystery there. There's some romance in it too. I guess it was just sort of grew out of what I like to read, and it is a Christian book. It's Christian fiction, so it had a lot of faith-based elements in there too. So with this one, I kind of just did an outline first and then started writing, but as I wrote, like I said, it just sort of took on a life of its own.
Yeah. So tell us more about your faith, because you do talk about this a little bit. You have a blog as well.
Yes.
Which is called what?
Faithfully Organized.
Okay, so there you go.
Yes, I'm a big organizing freak, and I'm very, very type A. I love cleaning. And I'm also, God plays a huge role in my life. So I wanted to incorporate the two of those into a blog. And so the way that I did that, I feel like organization needs to start with a certain mindset towards your belongings. And I feel like in the Christian faith that God wants us to hold things with an open hand and look at your stuff as not really yours, And so I think that if you kind of get that mindset about your belongings, that just makes decluttering so much easier. And you can let go of things and realize that it's just stuff. So once you get past that decluttering stage, then it makes the organizing that much easier. So I think if you approach everything from that viewpoint, then it really helps you tackle something that originally was probably overwhelming and seemed insurmountable.
Yeah. Do you feel like through the process of writing your book that there was a lot of divine guidance through that whole process, or with developing your character or anything?
Definitely, I do. When I first wrote it, actually, I wasn't planning on having it be so prominently Christian fiction. But that's my worldview. And so even if it wasn't going to be categorized as Christian fiction, that just naturally came out in my storytelling. And so as I wrote more and more, I just started thinking, well, this is my platform. Mm-hmm. And this is the gift that God gave me, and I want to use this to glorify Him. And so, if I'm going to go with it, I'm going to go all in with it. So, not to say I don't think it's really necessarily preachy or anything, but it definitely is something that I wanted to be proud of for my kids to read and not have content in there that I would be embarrassed of, or, I wanted it to be something that I would be proud of. And I feel like, that I wanted to use that to glorify Him. And if that meant not ever seeing the light of day and only my kids reading it, then so be it. But that's what I felt, that I was supposed to do. And so, as far as getting it published and everything, I feel like that was all God, the way that it all worked out. So
yeah, awesome. Where can people find the book?
You can find it at katieshands.com. You can find it on Amazon, barnesandnoble.com. In local shops around here, Landmark Booksellers on Main Street in downtown Franklin. You can find it in Handy Hardware, and which all of those places are in the book too.
Oh, cool.
One of the main characters works at Handy Hardware, and he goes into to Landmark. And then it's also at Parnassus in Green Hills.
Okay, and your blog is?
faithfullyorganized.wordpress.com.
Okay. Is there a link from your website to your blog?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you go to katieshands.com, it's all there. You can find everything there.
All right, cool. So I was going to ask, because I'm working on a book myself.
Oh, really?
So for me and all the other authors out there, what words of wisdom can you offer?
Well, this is a very common one, but I would say it is so important to write every day. You just have to make that time. It's one of those things that can fall by the wayside, and just daily life can get in the way. And
do you feel like, because this is one of my challenges, is like when I feel like I have to write, it's harder for me. But did you find ways to push through that?
Well, I have 4 kids, and when I was writing this, I had 3 kids, and I just had to force myself because I didn't have the luxury of choosing time. It was basically when they were occupied, or naps, or just little pockets throughout the day. And so I just had to kind of get myself into that mindset, and just force myself to just write. And I'm a perfectionist, so it's really hard because a lot of times when you're forcing yourself, it's not good. Yeah. But you just have to try to get something down and just take advantage of those little windows of time throughout the day, and then just go back and edit. And so I did a lot in the car rider line, at ballet practice, and different things like that. But if you do have the luxury of getting a routine, I think that will help get yourself in the mindset. If it's sitting at the same place at the same time every morning, having tea or coffee or whatever it is, giving yourself a few minutes just to look out the window and daydream and kind of get back into that world that you're creating. But if not, I think after a while of just forcing yourself to do it on the fly, then it kind of becomes easier, and that becomes your routine.
Yeah. All right, good tips. Any last thoughts or anything else you want people to know? I know that's like a loaded question.
Well, I do want people to know just what a huge support the local library has been to me. They are the ones who published the book. I won the Janus Keck Literary Award through them, the fiction division, and the prize was a publishing package. And so they are the ones that I published under their imprint. They walked me through the whole process. They have hosted events. They have been so supportive. And they also host a local writers critique group. So any local writers out there, that's a great resource to have. But they are just so supportive of local writers. And just wanted to give them a big shout out because
Yeah.
they have been invaluable in this process.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
If you guys are in Franklin, obviously you should check out her book. But even if you're not, you should check out her book. Would you say it's geared more towards like a certain age demographic?
Well, I would say probably adults, although there's nothing in there that would be inappropriate for children. But I think as far as just their understanding and interest level, it would probably be adults, mostly women, and of the Christian faith. But, you know, the reason I wrote it too is, you know, to reach people who necessarily aren't, you
Just
know,
need to
Christian.
be inspired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyone who loves Franklin, I think, would enjoy the book.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you. Go to her website, check her out, and yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
And thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.